in Sri Lanka, which is a developing island nation.
Recently, we all have heard about Sri Lanka conditions, and after Sri Lanka, we can see China is facing the same condition, the economic crisis. While do you think that India can be the next? Today we will see what the biggest mistake Sri Lanka did, where and how India can learn from that. Also in the end, we will see why India is helping Sri Lanka in this matter. Sri Lanka, the island nation, is our immediate neighbor, nicknamed as Pearl of Indian Ocean and the teardrop of India. Sri Lanka is facing its worst crisis since gaining independence from Britain in 1948. The crisis caused in part by lack of foreign currency, which has meant that the country cannot afford to pay for import of stable food and fuel, leading to an acute shortage and very high prices. The country owes more than $51 billion to foreign lenders, including $6.5 billion to China. So basically this was a short brief what happening in Sri Lanka. Now we will see the series of events or the mistakes which were carried out in the government. Mistake number 1. The tax structure. The government of Sri Lanka under Rajapaksa reduces VAT to 8% while reduced corporate tax from 28% to 24%. All of this led to 33% decline in the registered taxpayer. This all things led to decrease in. Mistake number 2 was debt management. The country's foreign debt increased from roughly 42% of GDP in 2019 to 119% of GDP in 2021. Here we should understand that debt must always be balanced by the GDP of the country, otherwise we will never be able to repay the debt. While the case in India, according to the Reserve Bank of India, at the end of the March 2022, India's external debt was placed at $62.7 billion, recording as an increase of $47.1 billion over its level in the end of March 2021. India should manage its debt to avoid default. Mistake number 3. Currency value. The government of Sri Lanka printed more and more money in order to deal with debt liabilities, but that led to the depreciation of Sri Lankan rupee. National currency should be stronger enough to trade in foreign market. So that means India should restructure the debt, but at the same time also boost export to deal the Indian rupee depreciation. At present, Indian rupee has depreciation of 5.9% in 2022. Things we should understand and learn from this video is like alone government is not responsible. We as a citizen also have the duty to keep our nation economy strong. What we can do as a citizen of India to avoid the economic crisis? Money must be spent on must and should projects only. Use Swadeshi products as much as possible. Falling rupee value for dollar and high inflation must be contained. We should never give place to corrupt politicians or political corruptions. Be alert and don't let the corruption grow. And finally, the answer to the question why India is helping Sri Lanka by offering $4 billion. So the decision to offer assistance to Sri Lanka has been strategic importance as it gave the country a leverage over its neighbor. The two countries agreed in January to jointly operate 61 giant oil tanks built during World War II and after India offered the initial line of credit, which will help it to store strategic oil reserve. India oil reserve will increase about 74 days. India has a reserve oil storage of 74 days, but this needs to be increased keeping in mind the ongoing fuel crisis around the world created due to Russia-Ukraine war. So this was all about how India can tackle the crisis and the inflation in future. We will love to make more financial videos which will gain zeros in your bank accounts and help you to understand the financial crisis and inflation going over. Please subscribe to our channel because zero matters.